I owe over $500,000 and I've never slept better in my life. Now, before you think I've lost my mind, let me explain something that completely changed how I view money. Not all debt is created equal. In fact, some debt can make you wealthier, while other debt will absolutely destroy your financial future. The problem is that most of us were taught that all debt is bad. Your parents probably told you to avoid debt at all costs, pay off your house early, and never borrow money. And you know what? For certain types of debt, they were absolutely right. But for other types of debt, that advice is costing you millions of dollars in potential wealth. So today, I'm breaking down the fundamental difference between good debt and bad debt, and I'm showing you exactly why I'm carrying $500,000 in debt while building serious wealth at the same time. Let's start with bad debt, because this is the kind that ruins lives. Bad debt is money you borrow to buy things that lose value and don't generate income. The classic examples are credit cards, car loans for vehicles you can't afford, and personal loans for vacations or consumer goods. Here's why bad debt is so destructive. Let's say you put $5,000 on a credit card to buy a new TV, a couch, and some clothes. That credit card is charging you 18% interest. In 1 year, you've paid $900 in interest alone, and that TV you bought is now worth maybe half of what you paid. You're paying interest on something that's actively losing value. That's bad debt in its purest form. Or think about car loans. The average new car loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. If you finance $30,000 at 6% interest over 5 years, you're paying nearly $5,000 in interest for an asset that's dropping in value every single day. And here's the kicker. That card doesn't put a single dollar back in your pocket. It only takes money out their payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Bad debt has a few key characteristics. It's usually high interest, often above 7 or 8%. It's used to purchase depreciating assets, things that lose value over time. And most importantly, it generates zero income. It's purely an expense that drains your wealth. Now, let's talk about good debt, and this is where good debt is money you borrow to acquire assets that either appreciate in value, generate income, or ideally do both. This is the debt that wealthy people use to build empires. Let me give you my real numbers. I have roughly $500,000 in debt right now. Sounds terrifying, right? But here's the breakdown. About $400,000 of that is in real estate mortgages on rental properties. These properties generate rental income every single month that exceeds my mortgage payments, insurance, taxes, and maintenance costs. So I'm borrowing money at around 4% interest, and those properties are not only paying for themselves, but they're also appreciating in value over time. That $400,000 in debt is actually making me money while I sleep. Another $75,000 is a business loan I took out to scale my online ventures. That loan is at 5% interest, and the businesses it helped grow are generating way more than 5% returns. In fact, that $75,000 investment has already generated over $150,000 in additional revenue. That's good debt working exactly as it should. The remaining amount is my primary residence mortgage, which is a bit of a gray area. It's not generating income, but it's allowing me to own an appreciating asset while keeping my cash free to invest in higher return opportunities. Instead of tying up $300,000 in home equity, I'm using that money in investments that return 10 to 15% annually. Here's the fundamental principle. Good debt makes you money. Bad debt costs you money. It's really that simple. Think about it this way. If you can borrow money at 4% interest and invest it in something that returns 8 or 10%, you're making money on borrowed funds. That's called leverage, and it's how the wealthy build serious net worth faster than everyone else. Let me give you some classic examples of good debt. A mortgage on a rental property that cash flows is good debt. You're using the bank's money to buy an asset that pays you every month and appreciates over time. The tenants are literally paying off your debt for you while you build equity. Student loans can be good debt if they're used wisely. Notice I said can be. If you're borrowing $30,000 to get a degree that will increase your earning potential by $20,000 per year, that's a solid investment. But if you're borrowing $100,000 for a degree with no clear career path, that's debt without a return. It becomes bad debt real quick. Business loans are good debt when they're used to generate revenue. Borrowing $50,000 to buy equipment that lets you take on bigger contracts and double your income, that's good debt. Borrowing $50,000 to rent a fancy office to impress people, bad debt. Even a low-interest mortgage on your primary home can be considered good debt if it frees up your capital to invest elsewhere. If your mortgage is at 3.5% but you can invest that money and get 8% returns in the stock market, you're coming out ahead. Now, here's what separates people who use good debt successfully from people who get crushed by it: cash flow and discipline. You need to understand the numbers cold. When I take on debt, I know exactly how much it's costing me per month, what return I'm getting, and what my safety margin is if things go wrong. For my rental properties, I never buy unless the rental income covers the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and leaves me with at least $200 per month in cash flow. That cushion protects me if I have a vacancy or an unexpected repair. I'm not gambling, I'm calculating. The second thing is discipline. Good debt only stays good if you manage it properly. If you take out a business loan and then waste the money on things that don't generate returns, it instantly becomes bad debt. If you buy a rental property and don't screen tenants properly, leading to damage and missed rent, your good debt becomes a nightmare. So here's my framework for evaluating any debt. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what is the interest rate? If it's above 7 or 8%, you better have an incredibly good reason for taking it on. High interest debt is almost always bad debt. Second, what am I buying with this money? Is it an appreciating asset or a depreciating one? Does it generate income or just cost me money? If it's a depreciating asset with no income potential, walk away. Third, what's my exit strategy? How am I paying this back? And what happens if things don't go according to plan? If you can't answer this clearly, you're not ready for that debt. Let me be really clear about something. I'm not telling you to go out and rack up debt just because it's called good debt. Debt is a tool, and like any tool, it can build something incredible or it can hurt you badly if you don't know how to use it. If you're sitting on high interest credit card debt right now, your first priority is to eliminate that before you even think about taking on good debt. You can't out-invest 18% interest. It's mathematically impossible over the long term. But once you've eliminated bad debt and you understand the fundamentals, good debt becomes one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. It lets you control assets worth far more than you could ever save up in cash. It lets you build wealth faster by using other people's money, whether that's the bank's money or investor money. The wealthy understand this instinctively. They're not afraid of debt, they're afraid of bad debt. They use good debt strategically to amplify their returns and build wealth at a pace that's impossible with cash alone. So when I say I have $500,000 in debt and I sleep great, it's because I know that debt is working for me. It's generating income, building equity, and creating wealth. Every month, my net worth grows not in spite of that debt, but in many ways because of it. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: stop viewing all debt as the enemy. Start viewing bad debt as the enemy and good debt as a potential ally. Learn the difference, master the fundamentals, and use leverage wisely to build the wealth you deserve. What's your relationship with debt?